Wildcats, it's Friday. That means we're talking about High School Musical, the series. And I have my coffee, but this is kind of the wrong mug, so that's a little bit better. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. On Fridays, we do High School Musical, the series, Season 2, episode reviews and recaps. So I did this with some of my Marvel shows if that is more your speed, but now I am doing one of my favorite shows that is streaming right now, which is HSMTMTS. Really quickly, I explained this all in my first recap, so be sure to go check that out if you missed it. But I like to do a Wildcat of the Week, a Bop to the Top moment, and a Scream moment. This week, we're gonna be starting same way we did last week, with our Wildcat of the Week, which is Gina this week. If I hadn't picked Ashlyn last week, I may have said like Gina and Ashlyn, especially since this episode had the whole doing things as a team, being partners, being supportive of your friends theme. Gina really shined in this episode because I know exactly how hard it feels when you kind of want to break out and do something on your own, unattached to your best friend, your partner, and that's what all the characters in this episode are dealing with. And we see her thought process going from wanting to stand out on her own to realizing that if it means standing up against Lily the bully, which we'll get into a little bit later, that means sticking with your friends. I also just love the trio that is her, Courtney, and Ashlyn. I think they are hysterical. They're adorable. Also, Gina's outfit was popping this episode. That green, black, and white ensemble was everything. She's come a long way since the first season because season 1, she was kind of the Lily girl. Like, she was kind of scheming, she was trying to be out on her own. The way I'm talking about it doesn't even do the episode justice because the way it happens feels really natural and realistic. And I also think this is Gina's episode because she knows when to say no and when it's okay to compromise to be there for your friends. Both when she's deciding not to be a part of the tour set and when she's talking to Carlos, Gina learned how to say no, which is something I definitely did not know how to do in high school. Would have saved me a lot of pain and struggle if I did know how to do it in high school, and I'm still trying to learn how to do it now. And I think that's a super important lesson. Gina just really stole the show this episode. And I am sad that she's not going to be the lead, which I think a lot of people predicted online was going to happen because it just kind of made sense with Nini going off to the Youth Actors Conservatory and Gina sticking around. It was like, this kind of makes sense that she would be Belle. But I think at the end of the day, I think Ashlyn was the right pick, and I think for Gina, she will find a way to make this role fit her. Then we'll do my screen moment. I usually like to do my screen moments before my Bop to the Top moments because it makes it an easier pill to swallow the bad of the episode if you have the good of the episode. Last week I had a little bit of criticism for the actual episode itself. This time it's really just for the story within the episode. Nini's teacher. As someone who is in, I would say, a passion career path, it is so frustrating when teachers, professors, whoever, so strictly stick to rules and the way things have been done before and are not open to other things, because to me, if you're a part of a creative career path, that is the whole point. You are crushing and killing creativity and originality before it has even sprouted. Succinctly, it just bothers me when so-called creative professionals tell you to do something by the rules and don't let you express that creativity. But I think it sets up a really great opportunity for Nini's arc over the course of the season. I just know she's gonna have to come back to East High at some point. Not that she doesn't love the Youth Actors Conservatory, but I think it is going to be less creatively fulfilling for her than East High will be. And also, with the next year starting their senior year, I just don't see her staying at the Youth Actors Conservatory for long. So that's a little bit of my hot take for the episode. My other screen moment, and I think this is everyone's screen moment, is Lily. This girl, where to begin? We all know someone like this, okay? Let's be honest. We all know someone who is talented, is kind of schemy, kind of snaky, and who will put other people down any chance they get because they're so convinced that they're better. This Lily girl is such a okay? Like, who comes to someone and is like, oh, well, I've never done local theater. Gina stepped up. I was like, yes, girl, you put her in her place. And I love that Miss Jen recognized that, because one, it shows Miss Jen is not just a theater obsessed person. Like, she's not going for the talent. And I have to say, it's teachers like Miss Jen that make it worth it to deal with kids like Lily, because I was lucky enough to go to a high school. I'm so like reminiscent about high school right now. I was lucky enough to go to a high school where I had teachers like this in my corner no matter what, and that is the best feeling, and I know everyone does not have that, so I love to see that represented here, and also encourage kids that like if you don't have that teacher, be that teacher, you know, like be that person to just be like, nicely, you're really rude, we don't do that here, like bye. Bob to the top moments. We're gonna have to go in less detail with these just because I have a lot of them. The Tercet. First of all, that whole conversation, the whole referencing of the Mamma Mia trio that they have, Spice Girls, Destiny's Child. I love it. Like, it was so funny. Again, the references in the show are continually amazing. These writers know what they're doing, okay? Like, it takes a lot, I think, to write for a show like this that is obviously geared and about younger high schoolers and make it entertaining. Like, that is good writing, and we should not, in children's television, and I'll get off my soapbox in a minute, but we should not settle for bad writing in young adolescent programming. This was maybe my favorite moment of the episode just because it was so funny and I didn't see it coming, is when Ricky is auditioning and Miss Jen is sitting by it's a leopard, but like the wildcat statue, and Carlos comes up with 2 cups of coffee, and I love Carlos and Miss Jen's relationship. From the outset of this show, it has just been understood that even though Miss Jen is a teacher and Carlos is a student, that they're like the best of friends. Like, I know they get coffee together like once a week. I know that like he's in her office every lunch hour. Like, I love it. It's hysterical to me, and so I appreciate that that relationship is ongoing and still referenced. And then the other thing, Ricky and Mr. Mazzara's chat in the hallway. I think this is one of maybe the strongest moments of the episode for me, because I think a lot of times in shows like this, the kind of annoying characteristics of some of the characters are not addressed. This chat that he has with Mr. Mazzara in the hallway really prompts him to realize and look at himself and be like, yeah, I am unreliable. I'm not dedicated to this in the way that I should be, and he's kind of waiting on other people to give him direction rather than like being that for himself. You need people, again, who are in your corner to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I love that we're seeing more of Mr. Mazzara, because I just like that he held Ricky accountable in a way that didn't make Ricky feel bad, but ultimately made him make the best decision for him. So then we get to my overall rating for the episode. It's a 4.8 out of 5. And it's because of all these things that I talked about, and even more of the stuff that I didn't talk about. I see where this episode wants to take the rest of the season. I think that's the thing I love so much about it. The premiere of season 2 was a little bit more getting you back in where you were going, getting you familiar with stuff, setting up some of the things that you needed to know. But this episode really just made me feel like, okay, we have like traction with this season. I really love a lot of the characters' involvement in this episode. I thought it was both a really funny and really deep episode. Also, the cinematography of this episode, guys. Can we talk about when they're all at the pizza shop and they're all holding their cupcakes, which associate who they are in the characters, which is great because that saves so much unnecessary exposition in the second episode. You just get it bam, bam, bam visually. And then the way it plays over Nini singing the song of how she's supposed to be so dedicated to the Youth Actors Conservatory. She just really wants to be at Big Red's parents' pizza shop with all her friends. This series is dealing with the depth that it requires to be a teenager in the modern world. I also love the appreciation for FaceTime that this episode has, which obviously they're using it because Ricky and Nini are doing long distance, but I think all of us in the past year have become really reliant on FaceTime and stuff, and it's nice to see that being kind of nodded at without having to have a storyline that reminds us constantly of what we're going through in this time. I really just love with the cinematography how the show is establishing its visual language. I think in the first season, it was really intelligently copying The Office and mockumentary style, as we've addressed, as well as nostalgic Disney Channel stuff to give people those feelings of their high school experience or what they watched in high school and referencing other material. In season 2, they continued to do that. This episode really reminded me of Riverdale with the elements of Lily and the ominous looking into the window at the end. It also really reminds me of Jane the Virgin with the fantasy sequences and just kind of hopping into where the characters are at, as well as Euphoria and the way that it balances the realities and the hardships that teenagers do have to go through with a very beautiful visual language. And artistic lens. Most of all, I just love that this show is continuing to grow, and it's not saying we're gonna copy season 1 and just do it a little bit differently so we have a season 2, but it's really dedicating itself to making it original. It is very well on its journey between self-growth and self-awareness as what it is as a show, and I just am continually amazed by this show. What did you guys think of this episode? Please let me know in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss videos from me, and the likes and the subscriptions really help me out. We are really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is astonishing to me, but I really, really love seeing your guys' names pop back up when you comment multiple times on one week's video and then the next week you come back. Like, that makes my heart so happy you don't even understand. And I will see you guys in my very next video. Bye, y'all.